Last time on S-Class, Rob hosted our channel's first ever manga haul. From Yu-Gi-Oh! To Nagatoro, we got to see him unveil new additions to his manga collection. And it was a great video, but early on he said something that I just couldn't forget.
Welcome to the first ever S-Class manga haul. And by S-Class I mean me, Rob, because Justin doesn't really collect anything, because he doesn't really like to have fun, fun.
And I took that personally. You think I don't collect anything, Rob? You think I don't like to have fun? Okay, fine. I'm going to show you the real meaning of fun. So, shortly after Rob posted that video, I ordered some manga. You had what, Rob? 50 volumes over the course of 6 months? Well, here's what I got. Over 100 volumes in 2 weeks. Well, let's get this started. So first and foremost, we have all of our addresses blocked off and our trusty box cutter handy, because this isn't some amateur manga haul video where someone can't find a pair of scissors for 2 hours. So let's get this started with this Amazon box here. Okay, so here we have the Naruto box set number 1, featuring volumes 1 through 27. So I'm really happy with the way the box looks. It's in really good condition, and it also has these really great vibrant colors, these oranges and blues and yellows, that really makes it stand out. Okay, so let's pop this guy open, and I'll show you some of the covers. So one thing that I really love about these early cover artworks from Kishimoto is the background and the details. He uses like a lot of different spirals and clouds and smoke, and I think it really adds this really nice mystical vibe that he really stopped doing later on. Like you can even see it here in this volume 1 spread. And here we have volumes 4 through 6, featuring our favorite fight, the Sakura vs. Ino battle. Yeah, and I really love this volume 5 cover. That one looks great. Okay, volumes 7 through 9. And yeah, you can already see what I was talking about earlier. The mystical background color vibe that I talked about earlier is already kind of gone, and all we can really see is these character profiles, which are still okay, but it really isn't the same as the first couple of sets that we looked at. Okay, so we have a really good set of covers here. We have everyone's favorite boy Rock Lee, Best Dad Jiraiya, and Shikamaru. So I've actually been thinking about buying this box set for a few years now, but the reason I didn't was because I really love the first part of Naruto, which is everything from the beginning to the Sasuke retrieval arc, which is like the first 135 episodes of the anime. And then the Akatsuki arc after that is okay, it's not bad. But then the Ninja War arc is just really rough. Like, I really don't like that part of the series. So I was always conflicted with whether or not I just get the parts that I like, or do I need the whole thing, even though I don't enjoy the entire series. So after a couple years, I finally decided just to go with this first set, and we'll see from there whether or not I'll get the rest of them. So this volume 21 is actually pretty beat up here. Some of these pages are kind of ripped up at the top, so I'll have to replace this one. But so far it's been okay, so I'll just put this one to the side for now. Okay, so we have a couple more sets here. And here we have volumes 22 through 24. Featuring the Sasuke retrieval arc and some actual character development for these guys that we'll never see again. And then here's our last set. Wow, these 26 and 27, these look fantastic. This Naruto Sasuke spread, those look great. And it looks like we have a poster. This is exactly what I was talking about, the mystical vibe with the scrolls and the smoke, and Sakura holding these giant axes that she'll never use because she's useless. And then the other side, it's okay. It's not bad, but maybe lacking a little bit in the background. And it looks like we also have a small guidebook here, and it has some instructions for some techniques and how to use the hand signs. Oh, and this is actually pretty interesting, the Naruto class report cards from the academy. I'll definitely look at that a little bit later. And the classroom setup and the educational curriculum. I'm not sure if Kishimoto thought about that while he was writing Naruto, or if he put that in post, because he's not the best world builder. But yeah, that's everything, and it looks pretty good. I'm excited to get back into the series. Okay, so now let's get into our second box, which is from Right Stuff. Okay, first let's just give this guy a flip. And we'll start off with the Rurouni Kenshin 3-in-1s. If you've never heard of Kenshin before, it tells a story about a wandering swordsman called Kenshin, who was the greatest political assassin of his era in 1800s Japan. And after the political revolution that he was a part of ends, he decides that he's never going to kill again, and that he's going to atone for his sins by using his sword to protect people. So overall, excellent series. It has beautiful art, really interesting and well-written story and characters, and also some fantastic fight scenes. So highly recommend checking this one out. So I do want to briefly talk about these 3-in-1 volumes. So Rurouni Kenshin is one of those series that you can get in 3 different types of formats. So you can get the individual volumes, these 3-in-1 volumes, or the Viz Big 3-in-1s, and these are the best bang for your buck. So each one of these is approximately $11, which comes out to around $3 to $4 a volume, which you really can't beat. On the flip side, you are sacrificing a few things though. Number one would be that the paper quality is a bit lower, so the paper is thinner and a little bit cheaper. And the second thing, which is sort of what had me on the fence, is that I don't really love the cover art on these 3-in-1s. So individually the covers actually look quite fine, but all of them pretty much feature Kenshin. And while Kenshin's a great character in his own right, there's a ton of other fantastic characters in the series. Like, if you've read it, Saito, Aoshi, Sanosuke, and plenty of others that I really wish got to shine in the spotlight a little bit more. And I think that the individual volumes do a little bit better job of that, but at the same time, they're also twice the price. So for now, I decided to opt with these 3-in-1s, because at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is just to be able to read the series. But those are some of the sacrifices you will be making if you decide to go with these 3-in-1s. Okay, so that wraps up the Kenshins in this box, and we'll move on to the next one, which is Spy Family. So Spy Family is probably one of my favorite series that I've picked up this year. It tells a story about this spy who, in order to accomplish his mission, has to form a family. So he marries this woman called Yor, who is secretly an assassin, and he also adopts a daughter who is secretly a telepath. And none of them know each other's secrets except for the young girl who is able to read their minds. But The three of them live together as a family while each trying to accomplish their individual missions. And the story is hilarious. The artwork is beautiful. And it somehow manages to tell these fantastic jokes while also progressing the story forward for all the different characters. Unfortunately, they only had volume 5 available, so I'm definitely going to pick up the other 4 once they are available. And then the final item in this box is Chainsaw Man volume 5. So this actually looks a little bit bent up, but hopefully I can straighten it out once I throw it in the bookcase. So basically, Chainsaw Man tells the story of Denji, a boy who gains the ability to turn into this chainsaw-like devil monster, and he joins this government organization in Japan that hunts down other devils. And I know the premise sounds kind of stupid, but honestly, this is probably one of my favorite series that I've read in the last 5 or 10 years. The story and characters are so nuanced and well written, and I don't think that there's anything like this, at least not in anything that I've read in the last 15-20 years. This series might not be for everybody. It's a little bit dark, it's a little bit edgy, but I think it's so unique that for everybody it's still worth at least giving it a look and seeing if it's up your alley. Okay, so that wraps up our second box. So let's move on to our third one, which is also from Right Stuff. So this box is jam-packed, and we'll get this one started with Yotsuba. So Yotsuba is by the same author who did Azumanga Daioh, and it tells the story about this young girl who just goes on these little adventures and explorations as she learns about the world. And she's super naive and super innocent, and the story is just really charming and really funny. I actually ordered volume 1 a few years ago during a Barnes & Noble sale, and I loved it. It's if you need something to cure your pandemic depression or just depression in general, you should try Yotsuba. I haven't touched the series since that time a couple years ago, so I'm excited to get back into it. Unfortunately, they were missing volume 2, so I'll probably have to read that one online and then from there jump into the rest of the series that I got. So we have here Yotsuba about to go swimming, Yotsuba taking a nap, and Yotsuba hanging out with some friends. Maybe her friends, I don't know. But yeah, really excited to get into this one. We also have a little bit more of Rurouni Kenshin. So this is one of the later volumes featuring Enishi, who's the main antagonist of that last arc. And then also we have another Chainsaw Man featuring Himeno. Okay, so next we'll take a look at Pluto by Naoki Urasawa. Pretty much anything Urasawa touches is gold, and Pluto is no exception. The story is a darker spin on one of the original Astro Boy story arcs written by Tezuka. Basically, we are in a future where humans coexist with very intelligent robots, and there's a robot killer on the loose who is one by one killing off the world's most advanced robots. And our main character is a detective who has to find the culprit. It's only 8 volumes. I read it maybe a month or 2 ago, and it's a masterpiece. So definitely check this one out if you want a shorter read that's a little bit more on the serious tone and a little less anime-y. And now we have Eyeshield 21. So if you haven't read it, Eyeshield is an American football manga. But don't let that stop you if you're not a sports fan, because it follows none of the rules of American football, and I also don't watch football at all, but this is probably one of my top 10 manga of all time. The series is hilarious, the art is great, it's done by Yusuke Murata, who is also the artist for the new One Punch Man, and the characters are also top-notch. So just a small backstory on this single volume 9. A few years ago, I ordered the entire series for Rob and I during a Barnes & Noble sale, but they only had one volume 9 left. And I, being the generous soul that I am, gave that last volume to Rob, and yet he had the audacity to talk shit about me in his last video. But you know what? It's totally fine. I'm not even angry. Water under the bridge. But yeah, again, I'm excited to finally be completing this series and adding this volume 9 to my collection 3 years later. Okay, next we have Shaman King. Shaman King tells the story of a young Japanese shaman called Yo who can communicate and fight with ghosts. I've wanted to collect this series for a long time, but the old single volumes are super overpriced and you can only buy them secondhand. So they're finally releasing these omnibuses and making the series accessible, which is awesome. Our boy Yo here is super chill. He doesn't even want to be a shaman. He just wants to chill out and listen to his R&B music, but his family forces him to join a big shaman tournament where he has to fight other shamans and ghosts from around the world. There's characters that imbue spirits of legendary Chinese generals or spirits of animals, and Yo has to battle them in order to win the tournament for his family and become the next Shaman King. And here we have volume number 2, which features his wife, or his fiance, Anna, and she's also excellent. Some really strong female writing in this. Not a lot of female characters, but the ones that do put in here are pretty good. Okay, so the last manga that we have in this box is called Bride Story, and I saw this manga in ProZD's manga collection video that he recently put out, and out of all the series that he showed, this one in particular stood out to me because of the gorgeous cover artwork, in particular the colors and the level of detail and the clothing, and I was just immediately drawn to it. The story is a historical romance set in Central Asia around the Silk Road, and I actually know very little about this series, but I wanted to go into this one blind just because I feel like if you read something for the first time in paper and it ends up being really good, it's something really special. So I will keep you guys posted on this one and let you know how it is. Okay, so the last two things from this box are art books, which I also love collecting. And this is an art book called Colorful Dreams by an artist that I'm not too familiar with called Zofan, but the cover art and the colors on this one really caught my eye. I was just searching for art books that were less than 30 bucks. And the art had this really magical, quaint feeling to it, but as I'm flipping through it, it actually looks a little bit scary. Well, we'll see. I'll spend some time with this later on. But it looks like there's some little short stories interwoven between the art, so I'll report back and let you guys know how this one is. Okay, and our final art book in this box is the Bleach All Color But the Black art book by Taite Kubo. And Kubo is such a talented draftsperson, especially when it comes to drawing character designs and clothing designs. I mean, looking at this one with the Shinigami lieutenants, they all wear the same standard black kimonos, but they all have their own little individual flares that he's able to accent them with and make them each look really unique somehow. And as we flip through some of these pages, it's just so nice when mangaka is able to give characters a unique clothing, unique design, instead of giving them the same outfit every single time. And he does such a good job with this, especially in his early chapters. And the captain spread is very similar to what I was talking about in the lieutenant one that we saw earlier on. And overall, just his art is just astounding in these early Bleach chapters. So I'm so happy to have this art book in my collection now. And we have a beach scene that I'll look at that one a little bit later on my own time. Okay, so that wraps up our third box. So we'll move on to the final box, and we're saving the best one for last. This one is actually dedicated to my good friend Rob. And Rob, if you're watching this, do you know what it is? Well, as soon as I watched your video and I heard what you said about me, I said, I need to have this. Alright, Rob. Last chance before I open it. Here it is, straight from Japan, your favorite series of all time, Konjiki no Gash Bell. So Rob, how's it feel to see your favorite series dangled right before your very eyes? It hurts, doesn't it? Well, I'm actually having a real fun time collecting this one. So aside from making fun of Rob, Gash Bell is actually an amazing series, and it's probably one of my favorites as well. Basically, every 1,000 years, 100 demon children are sent to Earth, and they have to partner up with a human and battle all of the other demons, with the last one standing becoming the next demon king for the next 1,000 years. And Gash Bell is this super sweet and kind little demon boy who can shoot lightning out of his mouth, but he's basically the runt of the litter, and all the other demons target him because he's considered the weakest. So he gets sent to Japan, and he teams up with this stuck-up Japanese boy genius called Kiyomaru, and they have a rocky start, but eventually Gash helps him to become a better, kinder person, and in turn, Kiyomaru decides to help him to achieve his goal to become a kind demon king. It's such a great series, and it has so much heart. It's so funny, and the battles are probably one of the most technically sound and well thought out that I've ever read. So while I flip through some of these covers, I want to note that this is the only Japanese series that I own, and I do not speak or read Japanese, but this will be a really good motivation for me to learn in the future. And basically, this is the only way to own the series in its entirety because Viz never got to complete it due to some licensing issues, and also the English version has Gash's name changed to Zach, so honestly, this is the version I'd want to own anyways. So this is the first time I've ever seen these Japanese covers, and they're fantastic. They are fully colored, they have like a real background design to them, unlike a lot of other series. But in terms of the quality, it looks like a lot of these covers are like a little bit bent. You might not be able to see it from the camera, but up close there's like a lot of bending in the front covers, and also a lot of yellowing. In fact, a lot of these sides and tops have some like orange yellow stains, which I'm not too happy with. But luckily the inside looks pretty decent. Definitely the inside looks like definitely readable if I could read Japanese, but we'll get there eventually. So this was going to conclude our 4-box manga haul, but I actually got 2 more packages in the mail that I didn't think were going to make it in time. So let's open those up. In this first one, we have another package from Japan. And here we have 2 Gash Bell official guidebooks. I didn't even know that these existed until I went to go buy the entire series, so it's super cool to own these as well. I still don't speak Japanese, so I'll get to reading these in a couple of years. So let's see what we have in our final package of the day. That's right, Rob. It's volume 19 of Slam Dunk, the single volume that you're missing to complete your collection, and I have it. Right Stuff, eBay, Amazon, all sold out because of me. I bought them. I bought every single one of them, and I have the last one right here. So your collection, it'll never get completed because I have them all. So that'll do it for our manga haul today. We have here 110 volumes if you count the omnibuses as 3 volumes along with 2 additional art books. And for those who are curious about the cost, this totaled out to about $635. And if you take out the cost of the art books and the 2 guidebooks, each volume comes out to roughly $5.23, which is a pretty good deal, close to half the price of your normal volume. And that accounts for the Japanese ones being a little bit less expensive. And also I have a few hardcovers in here that were a little bit more expensive. So viewers, thank you so much for tuning into S-Class. I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you want me to keep buying manga to spite Rob, hit that subscribe button. And Rob, if you're watching this, I hope you had fun too. See you guys next time.